Hello, everyone. Welcome to Style Esports. We're in season 13. We're in week number 5. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are in picks and bans of our feature match for this evening. Elation Pink is on the blue side. Dreamland Esports is on the red. We're about to get this best of 3 underway. Tiger, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. We had a pretty exciting match last night that saw some good battles. Hopefully, we will be on the same page here today. These two teams coming in. I haven't gotten to see the records because I always have a hard time finding where the document is that tells about these teams, but we're in the middle of a big season here, season 13. So hopefully these teams are making their way towards the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. As we're seeing a few targeted bans come out here. Graves and Echo being taken off the board for Dreamland Esports here. Two very well played champions and two pretty well win rate as well for the jungler Mons84 and Just Brand the mid laner as well. So, and on the other side, we're gonna see Zoe banned away from Dundleton in the mid lane. We're gonna see Misfortune and Maokai banned away. Those two seem like more meta bans, as Misfortune and Maokai still very, very good in fives and very, very good in a bunch of Maokai good in a bunch of different roles. Belveth seems to be another meta ban as well, as in the jungle in solo queue. Belveth has been running away with a lot of these games here. So 52% win rate in Plat plus across the whole world here. That's looking pretty good for Belveth there. As we're getting into the first picks here, Elation Pink opts for the Sivir first pick, and Dreamland Esports answers with the Caitlyn.
Yep, some priority around the bot lane here. I always look to the next tier after like Maokai as a first pick to be like Seraphine. A lot of flex picks viable right now, but both of these sides feeling more confident in just locking in their bot lane carry. And I like the Xerath as a pickup here because mid lane Xerath is pretty decent with having a lot of range, but support Xerath alongside a Caitlyn would be a very poke heavy lane, and I think that if they do want to send the Xerath into that support role, then that's going to be pretty spicy, and they can look to play around that bot side pretty heavily in the early game.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, this Xerath pick here is crazy. I mean, I wonder where the Xerath pick is going to go, because especially for myself, I've seen Xerath a whole lot in the support role as well as the mid lane. So it'll be interesting to see where Dreamland Esports brings this Xerath here. Is, it's a very long range artillery mage paired with the Caitlyn as well. Even if it is going into the mid lane, once these team fights happens, that's a very long range team to deal with if you don't have any sort of way to get in. But Elation Pink is going to answer here with Yuumi and Poppy.
Yeah, Yuumi definitely goes along the same theme as Sivir, looking to scale up, looking to maybe sustain a little bit against Xerath in lane if it is going to be that support Xerath. And the Poppy, just a pretty decent jungler. I don't think that there's a lot of flexibility of Poppy towards top lane right now, but also taking away the possibility of having to deal with a Poppy against a Yuumi is a pretty nice thing.
Yeah, for sure. Is Nocturne going to be locked in here? Definitely good. There's a whole lot of damage for Dreamland Esports here. There's a whole lot. I don't know if there's a front line that can really deal with how much damage Dreamland Esports is throwing out here. Not to mention, I think the combination of Nocturne ultimate plus Xerath ultimate has to be just very scary, right?
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of pressure towards the side lanes, especially if it was the mid Xerath. I would think that there would be a lot of pressure towards the side lanes, as he can kind of just step out of lane and throw ult down and get access to either side lane. But even a support Xerath can roam around a little bit, get some influence that way. And the Nocturne is one of my favorite picks in competitive when it's not on like a land, because a lot of times you'll see in like the top levels of competitive, if Nocturne ults, then the players will just look at each other's screens to kind of get some information back. But you can't do that when you're all in different places around the world. So I or across at least the region. Maybe not going to see any people from Europe or Asia here today, but going to be pretty dangerous there. And slamming another global with that Shen would make it even more so.
Yeah, I mean the Nocturne Shen duo once again. Like Nocturne turns out the lights and an immediate stand united onto Nocturne. Doesn't matter where this Shen is, right? He can kind of get off this ultimate for free, right? This Scion that might be his lane opponent is going to have a hard time finding him if the lights are off, and then Shen is immediately in the fight 4v5 in some cases. So this is going to be a really powerful duo here, and another good frontliner for Dreamland Esports. Shen is kind of in that odd middle ground of, am I a juggernaut? Am I a tank? Right? Shen can build kind of heavy into either here, but I like this answer from Elation Pink here. Hey, you've got a lot of strong ultimates. Would be a shame if I were to take one of them. And Silas is going to be locked in with the Scion.
I'm not so sure about this. I'm thinking that the way that I see Silas taking strong ultimates and using them isn't the type of ultimate that we're seeing here. I agree that the ultimates are strong for Nocturne, Shen. Even Xerath's ultimate is probably one that Silas would consider taking. But usually the ones that Silas can use best are the ones that have some big AoE effect that comes out right away in the middle of the team fights, because he wants to get right back to using his extra mobility with his E and doing damage and getting big healing off of his W. But he can't really do that if he's sitting in the middle of a channel, which is what you're going to see if he takes a Shen ult or a Xerath ult. Maybe he's going to be looking to steal that Nocturnal, and with the Galio lock, that's another ult that maybe he can look to take. But Dreamland Esports have really crafted in a master way the ability to jump onto a target from long distance and then bring the whole party with them.
Yeah, I mean, I am in love with this team composition that Dreamland has put together. This is insane. This is honestly like my favorite type of comp. Now, granted, it's missing the house of which to bounce. But man, this is such a really cool team. I love the synergy between Shen and Galio with Nocturne, and not to mention that like Serath and Caitlyn are pretty easy to dive on characters. They don't have a lot of mobility, but with Galio and Shen available, they also now have just so much more protection when it comes to these kinds of fights, right? Like it's going to be really hard to be like, haha, we found a pick onto Caitlyn or Xerath. But no, here comes the rest of the team, right? Like it's going to be really hard to really be successful in some of these team fights and maybe even skirmishes as well for Elation Pink here if Dreamland Esports is on the ball with these ultimates.
Not a problem.
Yeah, one thing that we'll have to keep in mind though is that Elation Pink have drafted a team comp that fares really well in a 5v5 in this particular situation anyway. It's not like a bunch of champions that are evidently better than any other champion in a 5v5, but once Dreamland Esports are all in the same place, if it does become a 5v5, then they're going to have a lot of their ultimates aren't as useful anymore, because they use their ultimates to get onto a pick, not to navigate a team fight. So if Elation Pink can get everyone in the same place, start up an objective, and then force Dreamland Esports to engage on them, then that could be the spot where I see them really thrive.
Yeah, for sure. This is I don't know. I just love the Wombo combo that they've drafted here. And with the long range of Caitlyn and Xerath, even if they're super far away, they're still going to be able to contribute to this fight. I think the only change I would make is swapping Caitlyn for Jhin. That's literally it, right? Like, I think Jhin just has a little bit better of a time in contributing to a team fight from farther away than Caitlyn does. Even though she's still just a very good champion, I think this is still a fine pick. And I don't know. I just love Dreamland Esports composition here. But You know what? We've talked a whole lot about Dreamland. Let's take a look to our left here. Let's talk about Elation Pink. You know, they have a pretty standard front to back comp here. They have one of the best bot lanes right now, right? The Sivir Yumi, right? A solid combination to help them have a whole lot of utility in the late game here. What do you think of the strengths of Elation Pink?
Well, one thing that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is what direction the build path is going to be for you, Mad Scion. I think that there's kind of two different directions we could see. We could see a split pusher that kind of threatens the side lane, and any time that there's a 5-man engage onto a pick, then you're giving up towers on the opposite side of the map. Or we could see something that is more of that 5v5 focus. I'd almost favor the split push type build because I think that that's still more useful in a team fight than any of the champions that we see on Dreamland's side. They should still be favored if they go towards the 5v5. So if we see something like the Hull Breaker, maybe not the lethality variety Scion, but something that can pack a punch in the side lane, then they kind of have multiple levels of threat that could really help them out.
Right. And I think the big thing about Scion in the side lanes here is I think you need to make sure that you are keeping Galio and Shen and Nocturne occupied for basically as long as possible. If they're going to go teleport on Shen, teleport on Galio, right? Then you need to make sure that you are making sure that when they teleport, when they are leaving, they need to make sure that they are on a time limit, right? I think Scion split pushing with the Hull Breaker probably the best idea here. Just giving even though you're kind of putting your team at a disadvantage in terms of numbers down in those team fights here. I think the big thing is that forcing these team fighters to come back to top lane to 1v1 you to stop your split push, or even in a side lane, right? That's going to be what's most important to make sure that Elation Pink can stay in these team fights here, right? Because I think Dreamland Esports, I think like you said, right? If they're at these locations first, then a lot of these global ultimates are not going to be as valuable, right? But if they use the global ultimates and then have to go back immediately, make sure that Scion is getting the most value out of that time gone, right? Use the Poppy ultimate to give you a numbers advantage, or even out the numbers in a way, right? You have a lot of tools here that you can at least make some sort of split pushing comp. You have Sivir in a lane as well, who also really good at splitting and sieging, right? There's a lot of things here for Elation Pink that there could be just like, okay, I guess we're just not team fighting this time. We'll just take all of your turrets.
Yep. So what I'm gonna be watching for here is that once level 6s come through for the side of Dreamland, they're going to know that it's go time. They gotta start picking up objectives. They need to be getting more resources around the map, maybe looking for invades and then following up with some of these global ultimates. And get a gold advantage that they can snowball. Because if we get to the late game here, I think that it's going to be a pretty Elation Pink favored.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is looking pretty tough for Dreamland here. I mean, this Caitlyn is going to scale well into the late game, and Shen is just going to turn into a big tank. And I feel like Nocturne damage might fall off, and Xerath might be able to scale later just because he's scaling slower than everyone else. But it's still just I still think that the Scion scales infinitely. The Sivir is going to go well into the late game here, and you know, this is going to be a real tough team for Dreamland Esports to deal with as it gets later into the game. But we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 1 of Elation Pink versus Dreamland Esports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. We're here, Season 13, Week number 5. We're on the Rift with Elation Pink on the blue side and Dreamland Esports on the red. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58. We're 45 seconds into this game. We got a 5-point start, perfect across the board here, and we're ready to get game number 1 underway. Tiger, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams play out in the game. And I already see a cull, and cull is one of my favorite items in the game. I think that cull is just fantastic. Just getting extra gold for free, why would you not want to do that, right? It does, however, mean that the laning phase will be even more favored towards the bot lane of Dreamland, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Got to play very safe on the side of Matus and Ant Cog.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of my big reason why I don't like the call here. Like, Caitlyn is already having like an easy time in lane, and now we're just kind of like, I understand the philosophy of like, hey, if I'm not going to beat Caitlyn in lane, then let's not try to do it, right? And just kind of like farm up. But like also like it's going to be really hard to do trades against this Caitlyn and Xerath here, and sometimes it'll be even harder to like walk up to these minions to farm.
Yeah, so a wave of minions is like 105 gold, right? For 6 minions. So if you take a cull and you can't fight because of that, and you miss 3 waves of minions, you're still up gold. So that's the biggest benefit in my book, is that you can just give waves every so often, and then you're still. Oh, we got a pretty deep trade here in the top lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is man, this is I mean, that's basically what Shen likes to do early, right? He loves those short, snappy trades that he can get as much damage out as in as little time as possible. And especially if you get that level 2 onto your opponent, like there's not a whole lot that Sion can do to really trade back at you, right? Like especially since UMAD was at level 1 for the longest time, but here we got a trade in the mid lane. Dundleton taken incredibly low here, forced to flash away, but Mons is following through with the fear here. Going to be underneath turf for a little while longer. The tick of Ignite is gonna grab it.
That was
just
5 ticks.
Bran picks up first blood.
That was the last tick of Ignite, just barely coming away with the kill there. Good investment. Mons able to find a level 3 gank on Nocturne. That's pretty solid. You usually don't get to see much in the way of effective ganks before that level 6 comes through. So all the better. And just Bran already picking up 2 stacks on the Dark Seal as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big pain in the butt for Silas as he comes back to lane, especially because Galio already does really good into melee mages, right? Like this is going to be just a big pain in the, like I said, the big pain in the butt, right? Galio's already great in the melee mages, and now he's going to do even more damage in these trades as well.
Yep, so we'll have to see how Dundleton handles that. Maybe gonna have to call TSN for some help here. But looks like the bot lane's going to get the first help, thankfully, for the bot lane of Dreamland. They've got a ward in that Tri-Brush, so they are wise to the play.
Yeah, for sure. We're still looking around the map here. UMAD, I mean, he's in some trouble one more time because Kuro, without any mana here, I don't think he's going to be able to trade really well into Kuro, even though Kuro's looking pretty low on HP. Yeah, look at that immediately. UMAD already taken so much damage and forced to flash up at the top lane as well.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate and going to be susceptible to some ganks here potentially. I mean, didn't see exactly what the wave state is, so if that's pushing back towards Kuro, then that could become a problem real quick. But I think that the teleport will rectify the situation.
Yeah, for sure. Is now, man, this is about what I thought was going to happen here. Matuas is just forced to stay underneath the turret here. Can't really do a whole lot, and really has to rely on the healing from the call and from Yuumi as well in order to just stay in this lane. It's just really tough to even walk up to these minions there. They're popped an Ignite and Exhaust there. I don't know if that was necessary, but now they're going to be able to walk up. Flash over the wall. TSN picks up the kill. But now they're in some trouble here. Poppy might have to turn around and fight Mons here, fleeing in the not exactly an advantageous direction there, but Mons is going to be able to pick up the kill there on the top lane.
Yeah, fortunate positioning for Mons to be able to claim the counter kill, but a really nice timing. You were talking right before the reset from UMAD about how Kuro was pretty low, but with the reset getting the mana back, UMAD was able to get a bunch more chip damage down, and TSN able to flash the wall and immediately convert the kill. That was really clean and just a little bit unlucky on the timing to give the kill back over, but still a good play.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot more aggressive than either of us were expecting there, but I think it was good because it just gave a little bit more breathing room, like you said, to UMAD here up in the top lane here. So just giving them just a little bit more time. And you like the Cull so much. I think UMAD also likes the Cull as well. As that's the second goal picked up by the team here.
Yeah, we're going to see the impact on the gold difference coming up here in probably about 10 minutes. That's the time to watch out for that. We're going to have 700 gold just randomly appearing in the inventories of the Elation pink side, so that'll just about even things up if things stand right as they are. First Drake of the game is going to be an Ocean Dragon, so we'll have to see if either of these sides fancies a little bit more sustain for their lanes.
Yeah, for sure. Besides that wild flash over the wall, I mean, this early game has been relatively quiet. And okay, just as I say that, right? Okay, I might have cast or cursed it myself. But yeah, I mean, this has been rather quiet. I think we've seen a couple games recently that have been pretty bloody at this stage of 7 minutes in. But both these teams looking to just kind of handshake this very early game here and just kind of extend out this laning phase and just go into the mid game like that much more powerful.
Yeah, but with the ultimates starting to come through all around the map, we may be in the position where we start to see some more action here. Looks like Mons is going to start this one up on the Ocean Drake. Going to try to secure that one here for the side of Dreamland. And I was expecting to see them try to stack some Drakes here. That may be their win condition. They have to find something to even up the power in the late game team fights. And if they can do that, the Infernal's the second one, so it's only 1/3 chance that's the offensive soul, but they still will be in a lot better position if they can get any soul.
Yeah, for sure. As Matua's just so much damage onto the Sivir here. And if you can see that 20 CS difference between the two, I mean, that pretty much explains it, right? It's just been so hard for this Sivir to even walk up to the minion wave half the time with all the poke damage that Caitlyn and Xerath are able to put down here. And that's kind of the big, God, I'm brain farting real bad. The strength of this lane here. They have so much. They don't need to play near the minion wave, but Sivir does. They can play pretty far back and still be able to harass Sivir and Caitlyn, or Sivir and Yuumi rather, when they're trying to farm the minion wave.
Yes, it's the deep truth of the bottom lane is that Caitlyn and Xerath are oppressive. That's it. Caitlyn, Xerath oppressive. That's what's written on the ancient scrolls, and also that they're getting dove.
Oh, yeah, they're getting dove by the whole team. It's just, they
Literal
didn't waste time for the wombo combo. Everyone is here in the bot lane. No way they didn't get that.
Too powerful.
Oh my god, okay. On the Hunt was popped, Zoomies was popped, Flash was popped, Ghost was popped. Every single summoner spell in the bot lane was popped. They didn't get the kill there, but importantly, they are going to be getting a turret play probably here, and that, I think, is worth it in the end, but a whole lot of summoner spells were spent, and, just Brand can't teleport back to lane, and neither can Kuro the Divine, so they're going to have to look for something else to get on this bottom half of the map here.
Yeah, I don't think that's a huge loss here. It's a missed opportunity not to get the gold, but now we'll see if the jungle fight turns into anything more.
Yeah, TSN might have comped out Mons here, and that might be the slow that they're looking for Yuumi as well. Knock him into the air, getting that additional movement speed, getting close. Yuumi might have to throw it a Q, but it's the shield throw that's going to be picking up the kill there. TSN 2-2-2-2 with 2 kills is to boot.
Yeah, nice punish there in the bottom side of the map. The invade from Mons on the back end of trying the 5-man play doesn't go so well, and that means that we've come to a spot where all of the advantages gained off of that have been evened back up, and TSN is in a pretty strong spot now, working towards that Divine Sunderer, going to be able to do a lot of work in upcoming combats.
Yeah, now we're getting a whole lot of farming here from Sivir, finally able to get a little bit of power into her pocket here with this Crit Cloak and the Noon Quiver as well. But man, you can even see it through the items. Oh no, Girl's in some trouble. Oh, good dash timing. Gonna be able to dodge away from that gank from TSN there, but don't think it's the end of the world. I think the only thing is that they need to decide quickly about where they want to drop that Rift Herald.
Yeah, interesting order there. I think that the dash was the only way out of that gank, but if the steadfast presence was put up before the dash comes through, then obviously it eliminates the dash, and that would have made it a lot more difficult for Kuro to get out of that situation.
Yeah, you have to go real early if you want to get past that Poppy W. But look at this. We have a gank coming in. That's going to be the Lost Chapter coming through. Going to be able to find the root onto Xerath here. A good stun into damage combo here. But Brother Goku is going to go down. He's going off to the Great Snake Way as TSN in some trouble in the mid lane here. Just Brand doing a whole bunch of damage. Flashing forward onto Poppy, but gets the Ignite. Last tick one more time. Just Brand is going to be able to get the correct timing one more time on that Ignite. As here we go, that's going to be the Paranoia coming across onto Sivir here, and you can't go anywhere. Going to go down. Debbie was taken down by the Nocturne there. The kill goes over to Debbie. Mons helping out there on the kill onto Sivir. It means that they are going to pick up this first turret here in the bot lane, which means a lot more gold going into the red team. They're now up 2.5 thousand. That's a whole lot.
Yeah, it is, and I think that a lot of that's going to be on the big carries here. We can see that the gold differential in the bot lane right now is going to be a little bit over 1,500, and the mid lane is about 1,300. So that's making up most of the differential for you. And those two players, Just Brand and Debbie, are going to have a lot of the carrying ahead of them.
Yeah, Poppy forced to just kind of drop Shelly in the mid lane here means that we're probably just going to see Shelly go away here. There's already a lot of damage from the bot lane here coming in to take him out. Yeah, not even going to get a charge from Shelly there. So not exactly worthwhile, but, you know, better to drop it somewhere than not being able to drop it at all.
It's actually not better to drop it somewhere. If you don't get a charge and you give over the kill on Shelly to the other team, that gives them 25 gold and a little bit of experience. So it actually is better to just not drop it there. If you can't get it into the tower, you gotta just play it a little bit quieter. Obviously, you really want to be able to get into the tower. The benefits of going for it are a lot greater than the drawbacks, but if you know that you can't get it, and it seemed pretty clear there that it wasn't going to be able to get in against such a big wave and multiple members of the enemy team, then I would have liked to see them just hold on to it.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're seeing a bit of a lane swap here. Silas and Galio going down to the bot lane here, and we see Caitlyn and Xerath roaming around the mid lane. This might be good for claiming the turret, but I don't know if it's good for Galio's ultimate specifically. You're kind of locking yourself to this bottom half of the map, and with Dragon gone, it kind of doesn't really give you a lot of advantages, especially without a teleport on Galio as well.
Yeah, it'll kind of slow down the potential for making plays, but they're in a spot where they're kind of okay with that. Now we're seeing these culls both cashed out, so that evened up the gold to a small degree. Still pretty favorable right now, though, for Dreamland. They're in the position that they need to be, but they need to continue snowballing it now. They've got their first item power spikes. They need to look for plays, and that seems to be what's going on here in the top lane.
Yeah, Sion might be in some trouble here, but I think he's just backing, like you said, to cash in that call there. And see if they might be able to interrupt some of these backs here. TSN coming through, not going to be coming in not going to be coming in soon enough, as Gallia is going to be able to complete that back there. As Dundleton is going to do his best to kind of shove in these waves in the bot lane here to maybe get some gold over to his team and maybe claim that first turret as well. Well, the first turret for the team.
So I think that it's going to be the Rift Herald taken down here in the second Herald of the game. And this one's going over to Dreamland. So we'll see if they can crack a tower with it. Potentially go towards this mid lane. It would almost get the rest of the tower. And it is a Cloud Soul this time around. So we'll see if they can use that one. I'm not sure how helpful that it is for the ultimates that they have, because a lot of them have channel times. But maybe they can make the best out of it anyways.
Yeah, UMAT is in a whole lot of trouble here. I don't think you want to stick around underneath this turret. That Shelly is definitely going to grab it here, and now they're in some trouble. But here comes Sivir from the side here. Lost Chapter is going to be able to find the kill onto Xerath here, as they have the rest of the team entering into this fight. But they're already being taken down one by one. That's going to be 2 for 1 now, as Sion finds the kill on the backside. Here's going to pop the passive, and now they're looking for more. Curl the man is going to be... Silas is going to find the next kill onto Debbie here, as they're onto Just Brand. He's taken incredibly low, but he's going to be able to kite them out as much as they can. Dundleton is now going to be the target here for the Yuumi, as they're trying to keep them alive as much as they can. The healing is good. The shields are good, but they can't auto-attack through the dome. Can he live? Can he turn it around? Kuro flashes away. They're still dashing forward, trying to get the heal. There it is. Dundleton comes out on top, and it's going to tie up the kills, but the gold is still in favor of the red team at the end of that. 3 for 4 in favor of the blue team.
What a brawl for the ages there right at the end. And what I really love about that play is that Dundleton stole the paranoia. So we saw a period of time where it was the case that the vision was limited on the side of Elation Pink, but then immediately after that it gets flipped around and the vision is limited from Dreamland Esports. So they kind of trade the vision differences there, and that's kind of all you can do on the silent. That's the only ult that you can take and still have your own agency as well. So I think that made a lot of sense, and there was so much work done by the healing and the bop and block passive for Antcog. So really good usage of the Yuumi there. Not often that we get to talk about how the mechanical prowess of the Yuumi player has an impact, but it really did there.
Yeah, sometimes it's easy to tell who the good Yuumi players are, and it's the folks who, like you said, do the bop and block. So we'll have to keep that in mind as some of these later team fights happen. But we do have one that might be surfacing in about 45 seconds here. This is Soul Point for red team here, coming up with that Cloud Soul, and like you said, you don't know how useful it is because of, right, a lot of channel times here, but that's going to be on the hunt. They're looking for Debbie here, but they're immediately going to be stunned up. They're still looking for it, flashing forward. Debbie going to net over the wall, but they're still looking for the dive here. That's going to be the paranoia coming across, diving on top of Poppy here, but now he might be in a lot of trouble, as that's going to be the choo-choo train. That Sion coming through as Dundleton picks up that kill, and they're going to find 2 for nothing there. As look at the top lane, Shen continuing to shove in that wave, but now with the numbers advantage, they might be able to go and grab this first Cloud Drake.
Yeah, Dundleton did well there to break the spell shield of Mont and allow the Sion ultimate to land for the full duration knockup. Set up the kill pretty easily there, no flash available on the Nocturne. Maybe gonna see a little bit of a steal attempt. Smite available for TSN, so I don't expect anything to come of it. But a good play there to find that pick, and now they're going to get a Drake on the board for themselves as well.
Yeah, and I honestly think this particular Drake is a lot better for Elation than it is for Dreamland here, because I think even if you're Poppy, who I think is the worst, I mean besides Yuumi, the worst person to have the ultimate movement speed here, I think it's still good, right? Because you get extra movement speed while you're channeling that ultimate as well. So could be good, really good for on the hunt, but I think the best thing is that out of combat movement speed for that team, right? The best way that they initiate is with that just kind of run you down style of initiation. Speaking of which, Kuro in a whole lot of trouble, slammed into the wall, knocked into the air, taking a bit of damage here as a minion is screamed at him as well, but he's just too tanky for them to fight. As Matua shows up in the mid lane here, trying to protect this mid lane, but I think it's just going to go down easy peasy. Debbie picks up another one.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of a strong time on the Rift for the side of Dreamland. They can continue to utilize their gold advantage. They've got some map pressure around the map as well. All the tier 1 towers are down right now. They should be able to set up more plays. They've shown that they have some chinks in the armor, though. We've seen some good picks coming out and even one good team fight for the side of Elation Pink. So we'll see if they can build off of that. But like you're saying, if we get to the Cloud Soul, and especially with 4 Cloud Drakes into it, that would be absolutely massive for this Elation Pink side. Even the Yuumi, I will say that you don't want to be in a situation where you need this, but in a pinch, Yuumi can make a good use of the Cloud Soul in setting up that final chapter.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that final chapter is going to be really, really powerful for this team in order to make sure that they can lock down a lot of these targets here. Because if they want to be able to find numbers advantages, they're going to have to look for picks, and force out some of these big teleporty ultimates, right? Because even finding just Caitlyn by herself can turn into a 5v4 in some cases, or even a 3v4. So just utilizing that time of someone just being by themselves and trying to burst them down as fast as possible might be the best way to find wins in some of these fights.
Well, we'll see if they can do that here. Kind of a lull state for the moment, waiting for this next Cloud Drake to spawn. There's not a lot of opportunity here for Dreamland to just sneak a Baron. They can't really pressure around that until they get a pick because they've only got a single source of DPS. They do have a pretty healthy take, but it's not like they have a whole ton of sustain either, so if they have their front lines armor shredded, then it's just that much easier to engage on them, and we've already seen that the 5v5 is pretty potent coming out from Elation Pink, so I don't think that they'll fancy an attempt on that sneak of the Baron, but that's the only thing that they even could consider right now, so I think that it's going to be pretty quiet until this next Drake spawns.
Yeah, I don't think any team has the power to take on a Baron, even trying to sneak it as well. Like, I don't think any team has the power to do that just quite yet. So I think this is mostly, like you said, this is going to be a bit of a lull state here. We're taking look at where we're at, 22 and a half minutes in, up 2 kills, but down 1.5 thousand gold is going to be Elation Pink. Dreamland Esports still holding a bit of the lead here, especially with how well they've been clearing out these waves and just keeping the blue team from being able to take some of these turrets here. Yeah, it's still just really tough to even put any pressure onto any of these turrets here.
Yeah, so we're seeing the itemization I talked about earlier and wondering what it would be for you, Mad. It's going to be Titanic Hydra is pretty decent for split pushing, helps push out the wave a lot faster, and the Sunfire, just good in general. We see Kuro the Divine trying to find something in the 1v1, but even in that dodge field, not able to do any damage. Oh, I love to see the coordinated reset. Look, everyone has gone to base at the same time. They don't come out quite so coordinated, but I still want to appreciate that they're going towards this Drake. They want to contest.
Yeah, like this is still going to put the red team on soul points. So this is now a time with, this is kind of the good thing about stacking your drakes early, is because it does force your opponent to come and answer these drakes once it comes time for soul stacking, right? Now with 2 drakes, the availability for soul becomes a lot more apparent for the red team here, as they are waiting for this initiation here, and UMAD might be the go button. Maybe it's Matua's, but they definitely have some solid initiation that will be answered. We have Shen in the top lane with Stand United, and Galio is nearby as well.
Right, so we'll see who's going to make the first move on it. They're posturing around a little bit, and if they wait too long, a lot of poke can come out from Dreamland, so Elation kind of want to make the first move here.
Yeah, they're going to have to pull the trigger at some point. UMAD not looking to use that ultimate just yet, but he is on top. That's going to be Galio diving in here. Like you said, they've already taken so much poke damage, and Sivir is already down on the backside here. TSN is looking real low as Ace in the Hole comes through, and Debbie's going to be able to find that kill. Heroic Entrance is coming through, and Dundleton, even though he's taking Mons real low, the answer from the red team is still real good as Debbie comes over the wall. Xerath is going to find 2, as the only member left is Ant Cog, and they're going to be the last to fall. Oh, never mind. UMAD coming through as the zombie, looking for Just Brand. Can't quite find the remaining damage, but that's going to be the first ace of the game, and it's clean as well. They're going to pick up the Cloud Drake, put themselves on soul point, and walk away with 5 kills with no deaths.
Yeah, we were expecting team fights to look pretty favorable for Elation Pink, but we see that now their issue is that they're a single damage comp. If you can take out the Sivir, then the team fights look much different. I like that Debbie's itemized for the LDR second as well. Going to be a lot more effective in taking down the tanks because of that. But that has shown in this team fight that Matus ends up just getting hit by a stray stun coming out from Brother Goku. And on the back of that, Just Brand's able to go straight in, lock down the CC chain with the taunt, and then they're able to finish off that first kill, and everything, all the dominoes just fall in order from there.
Yeah, for sure. Is hold on. As we yeah, now that we've taken a look at the game, the gold has definitely swung into the red team's favor here. 4,000 gold in the lead, and man, this is definitely looking to be a game that, you know, Dreamland Esports is looking to really pop off for.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can continue pushing forward towards this Dragon Soul, towards... they weren't able to get a Baron off of the back end of that play. So I think that now the game is a lot closer than it was before. And the gold lead is bigger, but I was thinking that with just 1,000 gold, that they weren't going to be in position to snowball towards this Drake if it had stayed at that level. But now, getting that third dragon and getting a bigger gold lead, it's going to be a lot more difficult to contest at the next dragon in 3 minutes and 30 seconds if you're the side of Elation Pink. So they're going to have to find a different look towards the next team fight.
Yeah, for sure. Is now uh yeah, we've got 3 minutes on the next dragon, but I think Baron just might be on the list for the red team here. I mean, they're looking really strong. I mean, they got Shen in the top lane. They've got Galio ready to teleport as well. This is looking to be a pretty strong team. They're already pretty far in the lead. They've got the vision around the pit as well. This is looking pretty well set up. I think they've got a pretty good time looking for this Baron here. What do you think about that play?
If they knew that there were 3 bot right there, then maybe they could have pulled the trigger, but it's still really hard for them to do blind because once again, they're just relying on Caitlyn damage. Caitlyn's not bad at taking the Baron, but isn't like insanely good like something like a Twitch potentially would be. And you don't have anything to follow it up like an Azir, so they're really just looking to find, if they know that at least 3 members are on the opposite side of the map, then maybe it's time to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and they've got to. I mean, it's really up to Elation Pink here, who's got to be the one pulling the trigger on something. And now he's just they're really all in for some of this top half of the map here. You really have to keep your eyes on it because this is going to be something to really could really explode the map. Really, this Baron buff right here, because there are all the outer turrets are already down, and with that Baron buff as well, they should be easily be able to push onto some of these tier 2 turrets, which are already looking pretty unhealthy.
Yeah, so we'll see if they're going to be able to put down some more damage there. But it seems that the wave clear is pretty effective. I mean, having a Scion that has Titanic Hydra that can account for a wave as long as he's not pushed off of it. Sivir always clears waves extremely well. And even Silas isn't particularly bad, as they're not against nasty siege. They are up against Caitlyn Xerath, so if they get Baron, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But I think that they are pretty decent at standing up to a siege, and the tier 2 towers seem to be in a pretty decent spot in my eyes right now. They probably won't go down for another while.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're taking stock of where we're at. We're almost 30 minutes into this game. It has been rather quiet since that last dragon fight, and I think mostly because both these teams are having a hard time just trying to shove in against the other, right? Both these teams clear waves really well, so it's just, and I think most of the time, like in between some of these big objectives spawning, if they're not going to go for Baron for one thing, then we're just going to have to just kind of like just wait as a Scar award gets placed. But yeah, and once again, like this is still just really rough for both teams here, as they really can't make any sort of big plays for any turrets here, but they're looking for Kuro the Divine here. Popped a couple ultimates looking for him as well. Going to land some CC here, but I think they're taking the opportunity to just run all the way to the Baron here as they find the shutdown for Sivir. But take a look at this. The red team is just collapsing onto this Baron in the top lane. They saw Poppy. They saw 4 people bot, and they're just like, all right, that's easy peasy. We're going to take down Baron as you try to stumble your way up here.
Yeah, no On the Hunt available, no unstoppable onslaught, so it's going to be very difficult to contest this. I think a smart decision there. I like the play coming out from Elation Pink because going right up to this dragon, they needed to find a way to set up a fight that would be better than the one that they had last time around when they got full aced. But on the back end of committing so hard to that play in the bot lane, they will bleed the Baron. I kind of think this is okay for both sides. It really just depends on how well that Dreamland can use this Baron.
Yeah, I think it's starting to get to the point where Dreamland can start just flailing their wallets around because 5,000 gold starts to be that place where it's like, oh hey, you really need some shutdowns and bounties in order to get back into this game, right? And with this, kind of the easiest bounties to pick up right now might just be these outer turrets, right? Worth 250 gold for the team as well. In addition, and it's just super hard to even push into some of these as well, just because of how good the wave clear is from the red team and the Baron buff as well.
Yeah, I think that it is looking pretty good for Dreamland, but I just look at the champions and I just feel like it's still pretty close.
Yeah, now UMAD forced to flash away. So they flash in front of the unstoppable force there, so it's forcing TSN to come down here. UMAD is already looking pretty low, but so is just Brand. He might actually go down here as he walks away, becomes a zombie. Here comes Dundleton in for the side, looking for some kills. He's going to be getting that Stand United shield for just a little bit longer. UMAD can't quite get the last bit of damage. Now Dundleton is in that Shen Dome there. That's going to be the taunt coming down, and that's going to be the damage as well. And what became a 3v3 for the red team comes out on top after that gank as well. TSN walks away with their life, but they still have to push against the rest of the team as Matuas is still looking for a kill. Monty taken pretty low here. The slow from the Yumi might be good enough, as now they have to defend this bot lane turret from Kuro and Brother Goku. But look at the mid lane. Caitlyn is just running down the mid lane there. She might even be able to take out this turret.
Yeah, gonna be able to get the inhib tower. Now gonna have a 1v1 to fight.
Yeah, that's the headshots are too good though. Debbie coming out on top. They've got the IE, they've got the LDR, and it's looking way too good for Dreamland Esports here as they continue to run rampant across this map, up 7,000 gold now, nearly 8.
Yeah, so they're able to take some advantage there. Still pretty narrow margins on those fights, but they are able to come out on top, except for that one pick that was traded back. But taking out that mid inhib tower, I think, is the biggest spoils as this Baron buff is about to come to its expiration. And they're going to have an advantage in the push as soon as this next Drake comes up. Every Drake from now on, of course, is going to have the Cloud Soul attached to it. And I think that even more importantly, once that soul is taken, then the Elder Drake comes up. I think that they need to get to the position where they can threaten that Elder Drake while this advantage looms large enough to make a difference in these fights.
Yeah, this is really looking kind of dire here. I think like you said, just getting that Cloud Soul is more beneficial to put the Elder Dragon on the map, which might be necessary for the blue team to actually come back here, because I don't think the red team really cares at this point. They're up so much in gold that it's just, it doesn't even look like they'll lose too much from even giving that away, right?
Oopsies.
As
I think that if I was a gambling man, I'd still be willing to put money on Elation Pink here. I like their scaling a lot better. I think that they're just in a spot where it's hard for them to lose, in my opinion. Even though they're down 6K, they've got a great late game draft. I think that they're just going to outscale eventually here. I need to see a convincing play. And I haven't found a way so far that Dreamland can force onto them. And if they can't force onto them and they can't utilize their advantage, Cloud Soul isn't enough. I think they need the Elder Drake to come to them in order to win this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is, I mean, I don't know. I can understand the I can understand your thought here, but you know, even if they were the better team fight here, they're still down 6,000 gold. And to me, I just think that like the red team just has shown us better that they can team fight a little bit better here, because there have been so many times where even the last big team fight, UMAD just okay, here we go. That's going to be the starts of the fight here. This is going to be the response, heroic entrance into the middle of the team, knocking them all into the air as Caitlyn picks up one kill onto the front line here. Second, third kill goes down. UMAD's in a whole lot of trouble as he's going to go down as well. It's another clean sweep as the red team pops the exhaust onto UMAD. You can have that zombie form all you want. There we go. That's going to be the game. Easy peasy. They're just going to march this right down the mid lane.
Not able to find a good target with the unstoppable onslaught, and just all ending onto the front line there ends up being the Doom here. Trying to make a play there. I don't think that they needed to force that, but I respect the attempt. If they felt like they were too far behind, if they felt like they were just in a spot where they couldn't do anything against the Cloud Soul opposition, then I guess go for the play, but it ends up causing the doom of Elation Pink here in game number 1.
Yeah, for sure. It was a really, really good team. And honestly, I loved Dreamland Esports composition from the beginning. And I loved watching it being executed here as they continue to really show this wombo combo that they drafted together here. And I love Nocturne being paired with Galio and Shen. Really, really huge combo there. Really, really good combo being put together that was executed really well as well, right? This was such a great team composition that they were able to have such a lead from the beginning and very quietly be brought back up. So this is a really, really good team fight win here. Really, really good win game number 1. Let's see if they can turn it into a 2 out of 3 here, as we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Elation, or we're going to be, excuse me, we're going to be in picks and bans of game number 2 of Elation Pink versus Dreamland Esports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 13, week number 5. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are in Picks and Bans. Game number 2, Dreamland Esports versus Elation Pink. If you're joining us for the first time, Dreamland Esports put together a Nocturne Galio Shen Wombo combo that was able to give them a bunch of team fight wins and was really hard to push into either team. So it was really quiet for a real long time until a dragon or a thing had spawned. So now here we are, game number 2. What does Elation Pink need to do, starting with the draft, in order to turn this around, Tiger?
Well, I think that going on to the red side here, they're going to have a little bit more of an idea what they're going into before they have to make their picks. So Dreamland used kind of that shroud of mystery about their team comp to set up that big wombo where they were able to get on top of a target and bring they showed the 5-man bot gank at like level 8 or 9 for the solo laners. I don't think they'll have that again, but I think that Elation, if they can respond, maybe get some more power into their lanes, then they can be in a good spot here in this draft.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it should be noted that Elation Pink didn't really ban anyone in this first round here that was really integral to that kind of comp. I mean, really anyone from the previous comp here was banned. None of them were banned away. Belveth, Echo, and Aatrox going to be the bans here. I think that's mostly the same bans as before. Yeah, I mean, Aatrox was banned in round 2, but this is still basically the same bans here for Elation Pink coming into this game here, but they are going to get the first round of 2 picks here. So let's see, after the Seraphine first pick, it's going to be answered by the Volibear, and let's see what this second pink pick is. Might be a bot laner. Usually folks like their jungle and support and AD carry first round.
I think that it's very strange that they decided that this time around they wanted to ban Aatrox in the first round and then leave Graves open, but then also not pick Graves. So it'll be interesting to see if Dreamland Esports picks up the Graves that's been left open this time around. But Volibear definitely a lot stronger in the ganking sense than the Poppy, especially in the early levels. Poppy has a lot more utility towards team fights, but Volibear is good in these earlier skirmishes, as well as the Leona. They could see some roaming combos here in the bottom side of the map, so we'll see if that's the direction that they want to go to kind of break the early press from Dreamland Esports that we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, for sure. Is now Trundle being hovered as sort of a counter to this Volibear and Leona here. I think I kind of like that here. He's also very good into characters that don't have a lot of mobility, and if Elation Pink want to go into another Sivir build, that this might be a good character to kind of put a stop to that here. Trundle really good into these big beefy frontliners that have already been kind of picked up here. And Dreamland already saw that Elation Pink likes to play rather honest League of Legends with some just straight up 5v5 front to back comps, and Trundle is really good at disrupting those, and Seraphine is solid as well. And a flexible pick, Seraphine as well. We don't know if that's going mid or support just quite yet. This should be, usually folks like to do their jungle and their bot lane round 1, so this could be an AD carry lock-in. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a Caitlyn. Could be an Ashe to go with the Seraphine as well, but it is going to be the Caitlyn here.
Yeah, Caitlyn, definitely a strong pick for Debbie in game number 1. A lot of good positioning, utilizing that extra range that Caitlyn has over some of the shorter range ADCs. The Ziggs, interesting to see the Ziggs insta-locked after the Caitlyn. I have to wonder if this could be a potential bot lane Ziggs. That would be a pretty stylistic counter into the Caitlyn. If you're looking for a lot of roaming to come out of your Leona, then Ziggs is fine just clearing the waves as well. Ziggs definitely can also be a mid laner, but I'd really like to see that go into the bot lane to match up against this Caitlyn.
Yeah, for sure. I think my only problem is this. I think this runs into a lot of the same problems that we saw with Sivir and Yumi in the previous game, where if Ziggs is going into the bot lane, then this is a very short range carry that has to walk up in order to farm the wave. And Caitlyn and if Seraphine is the support, can really take advantage of that short range and really poke him out. As now we're seeing some more top lane bans trying to give just a little bit of an easier time to UMAT up in the top lane, but he's not going to get his signature Garen, which he has nearly 300 games on this season. And he's not going to get he's probably not going to get that Scion as well. Might be banned away because that was really, really good into Kuro's Shen last game as well. But Cassiopeia is going to be banned away here. Camille and Swain banned away for Elation Pink, and they've got the first pick here. I wonder what they're going to go for.
Yeah, you were saying that Ziggs is short range, and that's true up until the point where his Q can clear the wave, in which case he becomes the longest range bot laner that you could possibly hope to have. So we'll see if Dreamland can punish that early on, because I do think that when he needs to auto the wave and put down his E to be able to access that clear, then they will be able to siege off of that and potentially force this Elation bot lane up. Well, never mind. It's not Ziggs bot lane, guys. The jig's up. It's unfortunate.
You could say the Ziggs is up. The Zig is up.
The Ziggs is up. Oh my gosh, we're getting into some punishment territory now with the Shinkari.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't get me started. I'll be here all night.
But the Kaisa lock-in is interesting because it comes into some of the same problems, and Kaisa never gets to the point where you can farm from range, so we'll see if Dreamland are going to be able to force around that bot side. Worked for them last game. I mean, they weren't able to find a lot of successful ganks, but they took that bot tower really early.
Yeah, for sure. But this Kassadin lock-in does tell us that this Seraphine is going to be support here for Dreamland here. And all that's left is the top lane. The Shen is still available for Kuro. The Divine here should be able to pair real well with the dive potential of Kassadin as well. Give them another solid front line. Or we could see a more damage-based frontliner as well. I mean, even if it is still Shen still does have the ability to build more damage. Like I said, he is kind of in that middle ground of harsh tank versus Juggernaut, where he can kind of build either way here. But Ornn is going to be the hover and the lock-in here. Still really good for this late game scaling team here to get those ornaments in their team as well.
Right, we're scaling this time. Dreamland Esports may be resenting me and putting down their late game team fight in the last game, so they're not gonna let me do it again here. Ornn Kassadin definitely going to be some juggernauts of that level 16 plus area of the game. So Elation Pink now we're going to have the burden of being the more early game team comp. I'd like to see them slam down a top laner that can be dominant into this Ornn, maybe something like a Fiora, but it's just a question of whether they play it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, UMAT is usually a person that likes to play very, very tanky, kind of bruiser kind of characters, usually like duelists. Scion is going to be the lock-in one more time up in this top lane, but I don't know if it is going to be able to pressure the Ornn as much as they'd like. This is still looking to be, if this lane goes even, then this is going to be much more favored to Kuro the Divine here. I think the big problem is that Ornn can match a lot of the damage that Scion can do, and Scion's biggest damage ability is super telegraphed. So Ornn is going to be able to dodge the knockup and even more than that, apply Brittle to Scion for the follow-up damage.
Yeah, I also really like the Ornn Trundle combination, because Trundle can put his pillar up and then Ornn just comes and smacks it, gets that knock up alongside of it, so that works out really nicely in the team fights as well. And I think that Dreamland Esports definitely knocked this draft out of the park. We liked what we saw from them last game. They've once again picked a very strong thematic team comp. They have exactly what the win conditions are set up for them pretty well, and they just have to play towards those. So they're going to be able to do that. But for Elation, it feels rough because I think that they do have to find some advantages early on, or else they're going to have to deal with this Orn Cassidon in the late game. But I don't know how good their tools are for it. I think that their best point in the game is going to be right around them hitting level 6.
Yeah, for sure. This is looking like a really solid team composition here for I think both sides. We have some comfort for Elation Pink. We have more solid ways of diving on top of the Caitlyn in the backline, which I think you and I discussed kind of in the in between there. Is that was kind of the big fallout of Elation Pink's last team composition, is that Caitlyn was really well protected, and Caitlyn was really safe in a lot of those team fights. There wasn't really anyone to truly pressure this Caitlyn in the backside here, but now we have Volibear, now we have Leona, we also have Kaisa as well. So this is a lot of things that Dreamland Esports are going to have to watch out for as this game starts to progress and this Kaisa starts to get more powerful. But once again, you know, Elation Pink has to show us that they can execute, because there were like one team fight sticks out in my mind. And it's like, hey, seems a little weird that that we're having an initiation to a fight and we have a Scion and we're not pressing R, we're just walking up at them.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that Elation Pink have their work cut out for them here. But there's a reason why you play the games. You don't just declare a winner after the draft. So we'll see if they can make their comp look better than I'm imagining it to look. They're gonna need to get a lot of good roams out here from Antcog. A much different stylistic champ than something like a Yumi. But they do have an opportunity to set up some death brushes here. That's the best thing that I think that their comp can look to do.
Yeah, for sure. This is still looking to be a pretty interesting team fight. Once again, Dreamland Esports is definitely a lot more later game than they like. Or I don't know if they like, but this is still fine though, because they have a couple of characters here that can help facilitate the early game and make sure that they don't that they stem the bleeding, and so that they can get to this later stage here, and that's Trundle and that's Caitlyn. Right, Caitlyn having a power trough in the mid game that a lot of analysts like to bring up, or colorcasters like to bring up about Caitlyn. Right, her weakness is that in the mid game, everyone catches up to her damage, and she doesn't really meaningfully spike until she starts to chain the headshots together in that late game. But this is still fine because it gives the rest of it gives Trundle the ability to go to the mid and top lane, who have just a little bit harder time in this early game here, and help get them into their late game statures, or power spikes rather, sooner.
Their final forms.
Yeah, their final forms. Sorry, I'm brain fighting real bad. Brain farting really bad tonight.
Well, that's all right. We always have some of that going on. Everyone comes across it. But I think that another thing that's a little bit of a bind on Elation is that they kind of need Kaisa to go for the full crit build here. And I don't know how much room that there is to go for something like a collector. If you're looking at a pure situation where you want to hit that 2-item power spike, that's something that you want to look out for, is going that route where you have a lot of 1v1 potential against the enemy AD carry, where you can do a ton of damage. And on Kaisa, you want to also get that lethality upgrade if you can. But I think that in order to deal with this Ornn, with this Trundle, even Cassidon in the late game, they kind of need to have full DPS and go towards that LDR into IE type stuff on second, third items. So it's kind of a situation where the things that they want to be able to do, that they kind of aren't able to go that direction unless they have to face a pretty big consequence as a reaction.
Yeah, for sure. Is now I want to talk a little bit about Elation Pink here. We've already talked a lot about Dreamland Esports. Elation Pink sporting a relatively similar comp as we saw in game number one here, swapping out the Poppy for the Volley Bear, the Silas for the Ziggs, and changing up the bot lane completely. But still, relatively looks like pretty still a solid front to back comp once again, playing pretty honest with a little bit of dive here. Leona and Volibear definitely being able to do that here. I don't know if Ziggs will be able to follow the dive as much as just kind of throwing his ultimate. But I still think, what do you think of Elation Pink here? What do you think of the whole composition as a whole?
Well, as I said, I think that it has some weaknesses to it, and it kind of wants to be a scaling comp, but it kind of can't be because it's up against a comp that scales harder.
Mhm.
Uh, the one other thing that sticks out to me that I haven't already said yet is that they are pretty quick at taking towers. So if they ever get a lead and can get an ace, they can
Mhm.
definitely push pretty far with it with the Ziggs, with the Volibear. They can do a lot of work there. You pointed out that they've got some pretty good dives, so we can look and see if they're going to be able to get onto the enemy mid lane or bot lane potentially
Mhm.
once they hit their level 6s, but I do think that they're going to have limited windows here where they can make the best out of this team comp.
Yeah, and I think I said this before, and it's just Elation Pink has a little bit to prove to me with the execution of their comp and the way that they play these kinds of objectives as well if they want to come out on top. But with that, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Elation Pink versus Dreamland Esports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 13, Week number 5. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are on the Rift of game number 2, Elation Pink versus Dreamland Esports. Elation Pink is on the red side. Dreamland Esports is on the blue. We are ready to get this game number 2 on the way. We've got another one of these 5-point starts. Ready to get this game underway. Tiger, are you excited?
Yeah, game one, we saw pretty strong performance. I thought the game was pretty close throughout, but the gold lead was pretty well possessed by Dreamland Esports, so got to give them some credit there. And we'll see if they can replicate that here in game number 2. They've definitely got more of a team fight oriented comp. And I'm excited to see how Mons plays this Trundle because he was pretty aggressive on the Nocturne, getting a level 3 gank that turned into a kill. Trundle is even better at that and can also go for some invades, so that's where I'm really watching in this early game, Shinkari.
Yeah, for sure. As this is going to be a pretty interesting game. I mean, we don't see any culls. There are no culls. How do we know? Come on. There are no culls on either team. Game's bad.
Well,
Let's do a remake. We have to make sure that the teams know that they have to start with culls if they're going to be on stream. Um
I need to start my own tournament, Shinkari, where everyone has to start call.
Rule 6.9.5.8. You must start the game with a cull if you are on stream.
Even if you're a support. Even
Yeah,
if you're
even
a
if you're
support.
especially if you're a support.
Especially a
Especially if
support.
you're a support.
But
You
anyways,
get
looking
cull,
at
wait until you can get a support item, you get the steel shoulder guard and come back.
Yeah, looking at the runes and summoner spells, I like that we're seeing Hail of Blades from Matus on the Kaisa here. Definitely looking to play more early game focus, understanding the task in front of them. Gotta go towards that. Got the Comet here for Dundleton as well, playing for lane. And we'll see if TSN can maybe set up some ganks. It looks like the bot lane is the area of focus.
Oh yeah, immediately with this Trundle gank happening in the bot lane here, wasted no time showing up level 3, forcing the flash out of Antcog down in the bot lane there. Might be just once again just another tough lane for this Kaisa to walk up to the minion wave and just try to farm.
Yeah, if that it does become the case and where it's difficult to get the farm down, and that will make it even more difficult to turn the mid game into that spot where you start taking all the kills, getting ahead, and TSN looking for the regank.
Yeah, that's going to be the initiation onto Debbie here. Already used that cleanse, but Ignite is ticking as well. The exhaust is coming down as well. They're looking for the kill on the Caitlyn. Can't quite find it. Now the turnaround is happening. Matu's in some trouble here as Trundle comes down with the chomp for the first blood. Mons is taken real low and he's going to go down, but not before he falls to Debbie as well. It's 2 for 1 down in the bot lane. First blood goes over to Trundle, and this is another good start for Dreamland Esports here.
Yep, perfect timing on the counter gank from Mons, and is able to figure it out that TSN wanted to come back around for it. A nice little engage by Antcog, but unfortunately not knowing that the Trundle was in the area, the 3v2 was just a little bit a bridge too far. Debbie now going to be the big benefactor off of this 1-0-1 on the Caitlyn, and the wave pushing back towards them as well. So I think Dreamland should be feeling pretty good off of the back end of that play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is another great start for the bot lane here, and I think it's going to make Kaisa's time just a little bit harder. I mean, I think I've been harping on this point a whole lot, but because it's Caitlyn and Seraphine, Kaisa is so short range, and there's not a whole lot that Leona can do about it outside of just like, we're going to full all in them, right? Like, it's either you all in them and try to kill them, or you just sit there and take both damage, and this might be the all-in that they're looking for. Brother Goku forced to flash away as TSN still looking for more, but good Trundle Pillar comes down, going to stop their advances. Look at the burst damage coming down from Debbie already with that combo there. I think gotten 2 auto attacks. One of them was a headshot and a Q as well. Really, really good job.
I like that Dundleton started to make the roam there, trying to collapse. Unfortunately, the blast cone didn't allow it, but trying to look for these plays is something that we have to see continue to come out. And not having it work is all right here. Nice pillar, fortunate placement. Mons just seems to always be on the Krugs at the right time, Shinkari.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems real good as now we're seeing just a little bit more. Once again, I think the teamwork from Dreamland Esports has really got to be the high point for me, right? Um, even if even if their team comps might not be like 100%, their coordination has been really good across both games here, and really is what's sealing the deal for a lot of these team fights here. As we got one more gank from TSN here. They're coming down one more time. The super mega, the
No
big
flash.
bomb comes down as well. Brother Goku is finally going to go down to TSN as he uses the flash as well. So we see the two top laners duking it out one more time. Thank you, direct to camera. Really love it.
Yeah, I love this aggression that we're seeing from Elation Pink, but they're gonna get punished cross map.
Yeah, UMAT is in a whole lot of trouble here. Going to use that ultimate in order to not be disabled, which means he's going to be able to get back to at least his turret here. Trundle still waiting around in the wings there, but TSN coming in for a gank on a Just Brand, but that can't really do that onto a Cassidon post 6.
Yeah, level 6 coming through is pretty big here for Just Brand. Still 0-0-0, going to be just fine. Giving over that assist to Dundleton on the ultimate is the only way that we are seeing the stack on this Dark Seal. But I think that going forward is going to be very difficult to get onto either of these solo laners with a gank. So just going to have to continue to punish this bot lane. Flash is still a minute from being up on either of these bot laners. So that's where they can look. First Drake's going to be Infernal as well, so it can get a little bit of extra damage on their stats.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a good Drake to get if you're already in a decent lead. It's a very snowbally, and it's going to give you those additional combat stats, which, you know, it's not like a big amount. It's about 2% adaptive force, right? But it's still really big for the lane that is already ahead, which is bot lane, right? Caitlyn already has a couple long swords in her pocket, right? Getting that Cloud Drake means that she gets to continue this domination in the bot lane here. And Debbie is now up a level as well. She's up a whole lot of CS. She's up a kill. She's up an assist. This is just nothing but winning for Debbie. So grabbing this Infernal Drake, even though it's a singular Infernal Drake, is still going to be really powerful to help out this bot lane here, as they're already trying to get Prio more in this bot lane.
Just checked the items, and all is right with the world. UMAD has bought another call. but even more interestingly, AntCog with the tier 2 boots rush and its mobility boots. So we can see that as soon as level 6 comes through, AntCog is going to be on the roam. I don't think we'll see it much more in the duo bot lane here. They were able to get their kills that they wanted to get onto TSN, 2-1-0 on the bear. But now it's going to be more focused towards the mid lane and top lane, so we'll see if they're going to be able to convert off of that. Still waiting for level 6 for the roams to come through, but I think that it should be coming up pretty soon.
I mean, I would argue that Leona doesn't need level 6. Like, it's definitely good to have it, but I feel like Leona can very easily roam before that. And if I see AntCog, like, not roaming around, then picking up these mobility boots, I don't think is very worth it. I think they're going to end up losing value off of that item if they're not going to use it roaming around. Right? I was already surprised that they weren't roaming around on a Yuumi before, especially with a Sivir lane who can very easily clear out a lot of these waves. Right? So seeing AntCog looking to maybe roam around the map here, maybe a little bit earlier than level 6, might be advantageous for their team here, especially having two dive-heavy characters ganking some of these lanes.
Well, no matter on before level 6 now, because level 6 come through, the solar flares available. But we still are yet to see any roams coming out. And look at this lane gank setup from Mons. Mons is always in the right place.
Yeah, this is going to be TSN diving on to Brother Goku here, and he's going to go down. But it looks like Mons still wants to fight here. AntCog flashes away, and that's going to be the Mega Inferno Bomb coming through. TSN taken incredibly low by Mons here. Going to try to turn this around. Ultimate comes through. They're looking for the damage on the Caitlyn, but she's dashed away. But now Dundleton cutting off Debbie here, but he's taken incredibly low. Now Caston is coming through. That's going to be the Zenith Blade onto the Caitlyn here, but Matthews Can't quite get through here. Dives onto Debbie looking for the burst damage, but Kassadin is there to answer. It's 4 for 2 at the end of the day in favor of the blue team, putting them in another nice lead, 1,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, Kaisa reminded who her daddy is, but Debbie just untouched through that whole fight. Has to see flashes and ultimates burned to even get any damage down onto this Caitlyn, but 2-0-4, 100% KP on the Caitlyn, and in a very strong spot going into the mid stages of this game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the mid trough is more like a mid plateau for Caitlyn, just so high up that I don't think Kaisa is going to be able to meaningfully interact with his TSN. Caught out by a ward here. Mons is looking to fight. Here comes the Ornhorn as well. Just ran over the wall. This bear is in some trouble here as Ziggs is going to be knocked into the air and forced away from this Rift Herald. It's going to go over to the blue team for sure. It's going to go over to Dreamland Esports.
Yeah, Dreamland in a very strong position now. They've got the gold lead early on. They're in a position where they can start to attack some of these towers. And I'm looking at the bot lane again. Mons has definitely shown a propensity to go towards this Caitlyn in the bot lane. They can look to take all 5 plates off the bot lane tower once again. And that's just going to be a gold difference that could start to get out of hand really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is once again, right? We have to keep our eyes on Debbie. Debbie was a big influence on the previous game before. You know, there are a lot of team fights where that Caitlyn just went untouched. And I feel like Elation Pink kind of took that to heart. And it was just like, hey, would be really nice if all of us could dive on top of this Caitlyn here like they're doing right now. That's going to be the Solar Flare, but the good Seraphine ultimate to answer, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. It's going to be able to find the damage. They turned off the turret, and now they're looking for more. Brother Goku is taking real low. TSN leading the charge, coming through. Matthews is going to be the one picking up the kill. There's now Dundleton trying to get away from Just Brand. The Satchel Charge is not going to be enough because that ultimate is spammable, and you've got nowhere to run. Kassadin finds a kill up in that mid lane there. It ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of Elation Pink across the map there.
Yeah, that's a good dive in the bot lane to utilize the power of this Volibear Leona diving combo. They're able to get the shutdown off of Debbie. I'm not sure who got which kill between Matus and Antcog. I know that those two each picked up one. But I think that getting that shutdown gold is going to... I can check the gold. I think that the shutdown did go on to Matus based off of the gold difference, as I just checked it a moment ago, and they're just about back to even now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be important because Kaisa had some free time to catch up in terms of CS as well. So now we're looking at a lot more even gold in this bot lane here, and I think that's going to be key because... Take a look at the gold lead as well. Even though it's still in the favor of the blue team here, it's not by much. Really only 400 in the lead, and especially after picking up 3 turret plates in the mid lane with the Shelly charge. Like, there's still not a whole lot of gold that they're in the lead here with. And, you know, this gap is slowly starting to close itself. But the problem is that Elation Pink really has to push this evenness now in the mid game really hard, because the later this game goes, it's going to be really hard to stop this Kassadin. It's going to be really hard to stop with the ornaments being passed around. It's going to be really hard to stop this Caitlyn chaining headshots together.
Yep, still waiting to see a roam come out from Antcog, though. It has been used a lot more to aggress onto the bot lane. It's gotten some value, but now they're going to get punished.
Girl, the Divine is down here, too, with the Ornhorn. That's a whole lot of trouble on a Matthews here. He tries to use the ultimate in order to get away, but can't quite seal the deal, as that's going to be Kaisa going down. And now the rest of the red team is here if they want to try to contest this dragon, but I don't think they have the ability to. I think they're just getting out of dodge, full stop, and just conceding this Drake over to the blue team here. They're going to tie up the Drake numbers here, and it looks like our Rift is going to be the Earth Drake this time.
Yeah, so with the mountain coming up, it'll be that much harder to kill these carries of Dreamland if they can pick it up, of course. I mean, it's 1-to-1, so we're still a ways away. But being a ways away, that means that by the time 3 more Drakes come onto the map, you might be level 16 in the solo lanes. And, of course, you know what that means when there's a Kassadin and an Ornn on the map.
Yeah, it means that there's going to be a whole lot of trouble. But now, the only trouble here is for Brother Goku and Debbie, who's TSN once again wasting no time, diving on top of them. The Mega Inferno Bomb to answer as well. That to use one more time is going to be picking up the kill in the bot lane, 1-for-0.
Yeah, they've been picking on Brother Goku and the Flashless Seraphine all game this time around. They understand the task is to keep picking up these kills. Nice job, at least finding enough of disengage to help Debbie get to safety. So not going to lose too much on the back end of that, and they still are about where they were before the Drake spawned. So they're in a decent position now. We'll see if this bot lane tower gets taken out. Without the turret plating, it's a lot more susceptible, and that can be a little bit of an injection to keep the side of Elation Pink afloat.
Yeah, and once again, like this is the time where they need to press a lot of their power and hopefully gain a lead. The problem is Dreamland Esports, once again, they're very well coordinated, very good at working together here. And now TSN in a bad spot has to use that ultimate to go over the wall here, and that's a big that is a resource that's not going to be available for quite the long time here. That is a level 1 ultimate. That cooldown's real long.
I'm beginning to think that Mons has TSN's house bugged. I think that everywhere we're seeing this Volibear show up to try to make plays, there's a response coming through from the Trundle. So that's just a really big credit to Mons here, playing very well in these first 2 games as a jungler and responding to the aggression of TSN.
Yeah, and it really he kind of has to be, right. It kind of has to have these eyes on Volibear because as much as possible, right? Because if you play Volibear, you're looking to turret dive the second you hit level 6. This even before then, you're still very divey, very aggressive with the ganks. If you've seen that from TSN's play as well, so you really need to have vision on this Volibear to know where he is and be able to answer a lot of these pushes here as well. As you know, we're seeing them try to fight around this top side and contest for this Rift Herald. Just spawned on the map.
Yeah, checking the items again. It looks like Matus is going for that LDR second, and I think that it's the right decision here, respecting the tankiness of the enemy Trundle, of the enemy Ornn. But it just feels that much more difficult to face this 1v1 against Debbie if that is the case. So I think that we're going to see a situation where it's going to have to take a lot of more team coordination from Elation Pink, set up some team fights. They have just about an even game state now. UMAD doing a good job pushing out this side lane. Once again, just doing the Scion business.
Yeah, as we see the answer from the mid lane here, we're going to see that Rift Herald popped immediately in the mid. So we might have a fight down here. UMAD in some trouble, knocked into the air. Here comes Just Brandon from the side here. He might have to 1v2 his best, but he's not going to be able to heal through a whole lot of this. It looks like he's just trying to kill the minions. As Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, and Mons is going to be the casualty of the mid lane here. Look at this. He's actually able to do a decent chunk of AoE damage, but Kuro the Divine is going to be the one picking up the kill there as the mid lane continues to be more successful for Elation Pink than the bot lane. Matus, oh, Matthews is going to go down in the mid lane there, but I think it's worth it at the end of the day. Ah, man, they lost a turret though. What do you think about this? What do you think about this trade at the end of the day? The gold's only 700 difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a really good play, especially by UMAD to occupy 2 members' time of Dreamland for such a long period of time. They know that it's a 4v3 in the mid lane. They engage onto it. They're able to pick up the kills. You know, it's really rough that they end up losing a couple members on the back end of it. But they are still probably better for it. They pick up that mid-tier 1. That's all important for being able to have some more agency on the map. And with this Drake coming up in 10 seconds, followed by Baron not long after, they're going to definitely get a lot of value out of it. The gold lead just about eliminated now as well. Some big item pickups here, especially on the UMAD. So we'll see if that makes an impact on this fight.
Yeah, for sure. It should be noted that Kaisa right now does have the upgraded Q right now. She does have enough AD in order to do that here. I think the next big item that we're going to see, or the next big upgrade that we're going to be seeing, is her E there. She almost has that 100% attack speed. Look at the top lane. Just Brand getting an easy split push, an easy turret. Gonna extend the gold lead just a little bit more, but it looks like the call might be in the blue team's plate to start up this team fight here as the red team pulling this Drake towards their side here. Someone's got to make a call. It doesn't look like either team is willing to do so just yet. They're both playing pretty far away. I think they're waiting for the Drake to be taken really low and then looking for a steal. Okay, here it comes. Ornhorn. Yeah, and that's going to be the Seraphine as well. The blue team steals away the Drake here. Look at Antog taken incredibly low there. Going to go down to the Orn here as the Kassadin is not teleporting in. They don't even need him. 2 for 1 so far, but the red team is picking up the kills. Curl the Divine is going to be taken low, forced to flash over the wall, and the team fight goes in favor of Elation Pink, but they've lost the Drake, and they're losing 2 turrets up in the top lane, and Kassadin is just making out like a bandit.
Yeah, so an interesting call to go for that play, knowing that it's a 4v5 by Dreamland, but they are able to steal the Drake, so I think that justifies it and makes it worthwhile. They're able to delay any potential soul stacking by that much longer. And I think that picking up that top tier 2 as well, especially onto Just Bran, who's now a level 14 Kassadin with 2.5 items and 212 CS. That's a pretty big bounty onto that Kassadin, but it's just becoming a stronger and stronger champion as we scale up into this late game.
Yeah, and even though they lost the team fight down there, they're still coming out with a lot more gold. And I think you said it right. Like Kassadin coming back into these into some of these lanes here with 2.5 items. Look at how much magic resistance is built by the enemy team here. Not a lot, right? Like there's some magic resist on the the Sunfire Aegis, on the Locket of the Iron Solari, on the Turbo Chem Tank, but it's really not enough to help them against all the damage that Kassadin has right now, right? It's a fully stacked Seraph's Embrace, it's a Luden's Echo as well, and they just are sitting on a needlessly large rod that realistically they could just turn into a death cap because you don't need magic penetration against that team.
Yeah, and especially with the Subjugate available, it's just that much more difficult to build up resistances, but they've got a good collapse here.
Yeah, the Solar Flare comes down, and the AoE damage from Ziggs is good. Debbie might be in some trouble. That's Ignite coming down as well. They got the slow, but they need to move around the Trundle Pillar here as it flashes to the other side, finds the knockup. They're looking for Mons. They might be able to grab it here. Still pretty tanky underneath the turret, but gonna be able to grab it for themselves. 3 kills for nothing. They're going over to Baron.
Yeah, that's a pretty massive blunder to just expose yourself to that collapse. They didn't have any idea where any of the members of Elation Pink were, and that means that the bot lane just gets killed off. Mons tries to save the day with a big pillar, but UMAD able to flash over it and still hit the unstoppable onslaught onto Debbie, able to finish off that kill. They'll pick up the Baron here, and I think that they should be able to get out just fine.
Yeah, Matthews is looking to dive on Akuro the Divine here, but I think that might not be as good as they'd like here. Akuro the Divine taken real low here. I think they might just use the minion wave coming up pretty soon here. Oh, yeah, they're just going to use Ziggs. They're just going to use Ziggs. Oh, he popped the satchel charge way too early. Oh, no. Antog. Oh, my God. Okay. That's a question mark ping. That's a question mark ping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I do that? Can I really quickly question mark ping? Don't worry about it. Yeah, but
now for Elation Pink, they've gotten themselves into a position where they've got the Baron buff. They've gotten finally into a gold lead as well, and they've used the fact that they're able to get some picks in this mid game to set themselves up to potentially be able to continue to fight here. They've still got a long road in this game. I feel like it's a little bit weird that in both of the games I've been like the team with the gold lead is still behind, but that's just how I'm feeling with the team comps. We'll see if they can extend their gold advantage with this Baron buff though.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be where they need to get close to closing out the game here as they're looking for Mons, who's forced to use the smite in order to heal off the Raptors here. But yeah, this is the biggest point where they need to break the game open and give themselves a pathway to victory, like you said, because I think we've been touting this basically all game, but we're getting to the stage where it's a big problem, right? We're getting to the stage where we're in the stage where Ornn is going to start passing out the ornaments to his team, right? And a team that's already pretty far ahead is going to run away with this game if they're able to get more ornaments, right? And on top of that, we're getting to the stage where Caitlyn is going to be able to chain a lot of these headshots together as well. She's already got an LDR under her belt as well. Like, this is going to be a Caitlyn that's really hard to deal with, especially after chaining these headshots together, getting the third shots from the Kraken Slayer. Like, it's going to be something to keep our eyes on the longer this game goes. The red team needs to close this game out soon.
I think they should just give this. I don't think that this is something they need to fight for. Dreamland should just be fine with 2-2 on Drakes. Maybe Mons looks for a steal, but there's no way out with no flash.
Oh, they look for the steal with Seraphine, and that honestly would have been insane. But TSN was waiting for it, had the flash had the smite available, so they're just going to pick up the Earth Drake here and move on, and just head back into these lanes, start shoving them out one more time.
Need I say more than 16 out of 16? I think that the late game is here, and the Baron buff expiring in 3 seconds here is not going to save any longer Elation Pink. They're going to need to find the rest of these Drakes, if I'm going to be honest with you. They need to take every single Drake the rest of the game to even have a chance. And maybe if they can find a 5-for-0 ace, they can just end. But things are getting pretty dire.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a Luden's Echo upgrade for Kassadin as well. Remember, these are about 1,000 gold worth of upgrades just kind of given away for free here. So as long as they can continue to give Ornn kind of a safe solo lane to just farm up experience, you're mostly fine, right? You don't care about Ornn getting gold anymore. You just want him to get these solo lanes, get him the experience he needs, and start finishing off passing out these ornaments. I think that's the biggest thing for Dreamland to look for here, outside of just finding some advantageous team fights.
Yeah, well, for the rest of the game, everyone at home, keep your eyes on Just Brand. Just Brand is going to make or break the team fights. It has to be a focus on killing off the Kassadin here if there's going to be any success on the side of Elation Pink. They've got the tools. They've got some pretty decent burst between Dundleton and Matus, but they need to make sure that Just Brand doesn't take them out before they can take him out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another thing I wanted to point out here is I think UMAD heard our suggestion from game number 1 here. He's holding on to that hull breaker there, which, you know, still a nerfed item. You know, there's no pirate hat for the cannon minions. The worst nerf that they put into League of Legends, by the way. But yeah, this is going to be another tough thing to deal with, because it's going to be hard to kind of match him at this point, right? When he's by himself, that item is basically 1.5, right? So this Scion is going to be really tough to deal with unless you send multiple people down there. That's a lot of stats, you know, in addition to kind of his infinite scaling as well. Oh, wow, look at that initiation on the backside. Brother Goku taken down here. Zenith Blade lands onto Just Brand here, but TSN is on the wrong side of this fight. He's going to be taken down, and that's going to be the Ornn Horn coming across the team here. UMAD coming from the backside still has that solo buff available to him. They're trying not to get too close to let him live, but that's going to be the Zenith Blade onto Mons here. They're going to be able to find that kill. Just Brand onto the backside takes a whole bunch of damage from the red team here as they dive forward, but he's going to be able to find the kill onto Leona. Going to be able to find the kill onto Kaisa now. This is what we were talking about, the big damage coming through onto Dundleton. Going to go over the wall. Going to be able to find that kill. Quadra kill for the Kassadin. 4 kills in a row for the Hunter, as UMAD can all he can do is just wail on the blue minions. That's all he can do before the zombie form crumbles before him. Just Brand coming out huge. They're just gonna walk up to this mid lane turret, use the demolished proc, and take it down. Oh no, oh no, oh no. That's okay.
Oh.
You know what? The red team got a question mark ping. The blue team can get a question mark ping as a treat.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. He did that on purpose to get the reset, and
yeah.
We can let it go, because that's the first death of the game for Kuro the Divine, who was able to step up and body block Void Seekers earlier to make sure that W got a reset. So we won't be too hard on that. But a good team fight coming out, and it looked like Elation Pink had the right ideas on that team fight. They just never were able to shut down Just Brand. Even getting about a 70% chunk at the beginning of the team fight wasn't enough to push him away got the quadra kill, and now Baron up, so we'll see if they're able to find a way onto that.
Yeah, they were trying to sneak it, but the blue team immediately scouted it out with that blue buff, with that blue ward there. So now, the only problem is UMAD is in a whole lot of trouble. He's on the wrong side of the rift right now, but it doesn't look like the blue team can truly collapse onto this behemoth, who has a lot of HP. I actually want to check how much HP we got here. 5,562.
Yeah,
Wow,
plus a
that's
pretty
lot.
generous shield as well, so
Yeah.
going to be pretty difficult to kill. I don't even think Just Brand can ever solo kill UMAD, so I think that the one saving grace here is that in order to kill off UMAD, Debbie needs to be doing damage, so if they can avoid putting him in a situation like that and let him keep split pushing here.
Ooh, Mons is in some trouble, though. That's all the burst they got. They're going to use the
Up to
ultimate,
date.
but they're doing such a good job of kiting backwards. Kaisa diving forward, but look at that headshot damage from Caitlyn there. They're not going to be able to do it, but here comes from the backside. UMAN just comes running into the fight here. He's going to be by himself, so I don't think he's going to be able to walk away from this, and that's huge. The red team is now down a member here, and they can just sit here just auto-attacking him. He's not going to be able to damage them, and now it's 4v4, and the blue team might actually have a better 4v4 than the red.
Yeah, especially with the Kassadin at level 17, they definitely have that advantage. UMAD off the map now. TSN trying to put some damage down onto Debbie, but it's not going to be enough here, I don't think. Brother Goku's pretty low, so maybe they won't try to go for it. Maybe they feel like they're in a position where they don't really need to force anything that's not a guaranteed win. But Just Brand still trying to find potentially a pick to make this a more secure Drake. And the one-for-one trade there, I think, is okay for both sides, but the scaling continues to favor Dreamland Esports.
Yeah, they might be down in gold right now, but I think oh, this is huge. This is actually really smart by them. They have the Caitlyn and they have the Kassadin here for the damage. They might be able to do significant amount. Yeah, here comes Mons as well. They're going to be able to finish this Baron off before the red team even gets there. They're like, yeah, you can have that dragon. We're going to take the Baron. They're even going to get the gold lead in their favor now as well. And not to mention, these once again, the ornaments still being passed out now.
Yep, so one more Drake can come up. The next 5 minutes are going to decide this game. If this Baron push is good enough, it can break the base, set up the next Drake. But if the siege can be held off, if the gold can stay even here, and particularly if UMAD can continue having success split pushing into a side lane, then that's the avenue that Elation Pink need to look for. Dundleton could be in trouble, though. Just Brand is so strong.
Yeah, oh my god! Oh no! He got hit by 1Q and ate 25% of his HP! He was just... Oh my god.
Shinkari, people complain about mobility being too strong on new champs today. Imagine if Kassadin came out right now. People would be losing their minds. He's such a strong champion in the late game.
He doesn't have enough passives. He would need like two more
true.
passives in order to be a 2022 champion. I think that's really the only thing that he's missing. He needs like one or two more passives on his abilities. But yeah, you're right. Like this Kassadin is insane, and the only saving grace for this team right now is UMAD, who is impossible for Kuro the Divine to even 1v. Look at this. Look at this. This guy is huge. What is Ornn reasonably going to do against this? They can't do anything against him. But well, like, look at it.
Cancel the Qs. He can cancel the decimating smashes. That's a ton of damage to the tower. So I think that UMAD is feeling okay here, but the Baron buff is helping him clear the way.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about how good UMAD is and how insane this Scion is, but take a look at the rest of the map, man. Like, we're just getting a heaping helping of directed camera being a top lane main, but like this bot lane and mid lane is where we should be looking right now. It's just so hard for the red team to defend against this. Look at the amount of damage they've already done onto this bot lane turret, and they've already lost the mid inhibitor as well. They're taking some poke damage, but this turret, all they need to do is just give it a light breeze and it'll fall over.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go down now. We'll see if there's an engage to be had off of it. The health bar is getting pretty low now.
Yeah, that's going to be the engage onto Mons here, who doesn't eat the solar flare, but they're still going to try to dive onto him here. Huge ultimate from the Seraphine here as they lose the top lane turret on the top side. They stop the Orn. Kuro the Divine does not get the second hit onto the Orn Horn here, but UMAD is still really low, doesn't have any mana, and he's still looking to fight. Going to charge right in, going to throw out the pillar, but he can't quite get to him. UMAD is still pretty fast. Still go. Here comes the ace in the hole, though. Down from downtown. Debbie recalls, picks up the kill on a Scion, and the push stops for Elation Pink as they pick up. And man, Dreamland Esports takes nearly everything from the red team here in that push.
Yeah, but the mission has been accomplished here. The Baron buff has been held off thanks to the pushing of UMAD and the wave clear coming out from Dundleton. I was going to say that I think that going with the Luden's Tempest here, well, this is a dangerous spot for TSN.
Oh, yeah, TSN wandered into his own jungle, has to spend the ultimate to get away, but I don't know how well you can escape just Bran. I don't think he wants to walk into Dundleton, especially with the rest of the team looming there. He knows he has some good damage, but not good enough to burst down that volley bear just yet. But, we do have Caitlyn and Seraphine and Trundle pushing in the top lane here. They might not have that, the Baron buff anymore, but they still have some powerful abilities here, some good siege. You just need to watch
they
this mid
can't
lane.
siege without Baron though because the waves just get cleared so easily. Ziggs is just really good at making sure that the waves aren't allowed any time to deal damage to the towers. They have to hold this last refuge. 3 inhibs would be too much to give, I think.
Yeah, but Ziggs had to back off to clear the super wave that was pushing in from the side there. And with that opportunity, Kuro and Just Brand take the bottom inhibitor now. And now Dundleton doesn't really have a whole lot to defend here as TSN in some trouble. That's going to be the Horn coming across. Mons is already taken pretty low, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to finish off the kill as Just Brand diving onto the backside one more time. Going to be able to find one kill. Seraphine is going to be able to find the other. 2 down for nothing so far as UMAD comes back into the side here. Mons taken incredibly low once again, but has to walk all the way out. UMAD taken really low. Debbie looking for that last bit of damage, but can't quite finish it off as they're going to have to retreat all the way to the summoner platform in order to turn this around. That's going to be the first Nexus turret going down. Kuro the Divine on top of the Nexus, on top of the second one. They're going to be able to clear it out. This last fight is going to be able to can they finish it all? Can they keep them alive? They're wailing on the Nexus. It goes down. You can't save this game. Elation Pink goes down. Dreamland Esports are your winner for this evening, 2-0.
Yeah, Dreamland are able to get to their scaling break point there. Just Brand with a fantastic game. Not perfect as he ends up going down in that last team fight, but very cleanly played there in both games by Dreamland. They were able to play to their comp strengths. They drafted really well today, and I think that they definitely deserve to come out on top here.
Yeah, for sure. They had a really cool wombo combo comp in game number 1, and in game number 2, they brought it into a little bit. They brought it to basically a more straight game of League of Legends. But shout outs to Just Bran, who was really really good this game. Just Bran and Debbie, the 80 carries, the carries for this team, absolutely insane. With the amount of damage and pressure that they were able to push out here, like it was really really good to see them just shine in these games and draw so much attention that Elation Pink had to completely change their draft and completely change their team compositions in order to accommodate for how strong Debbie was in game number 1.
Yep, and that Caitlyn ended up being the winning factor once again in game 2. I also wanted to shout out Mons for just tracking TSN very well in the early game, both times around, making the most of the gank potential and balancing that with trying to CS. Ended up with not the most glamorous KDA in the second game there, but still did a good job throughout the series, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. As That's going to do it for us here. From everyone here at Style Esports, thank you all so much for tuning in. From myself, the entire live broadcast crew, Tiger58, my co-caster for this evening, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We have League of Legends action for you to watch nearly every single day. And if you're feeling generous, press that subscribe button. It really helps us out. But for, oh no, Risen Esports.
We get
Risen
raided.
Esports, thank you so much for the raid, but we are literally ending the stream right now. Thank you all so thank you for the raid, everybody. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58 tonight. Well, for thank you for the raid. I take the raid back. Interview? Question mark? No, no, no. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And from everyone here at Style Esports, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you at the next match. Bye bye.